In a forgotten village nestled in the heart of a dense, misty forest, there was an ancient and sinister legend that had been whispered for generations. The village, long isolated from the outside world, was known for its eerie silence and the strange happenings that took place beneath the dark canopy of trees. But what most people didn't know was that the village harbored a dark secret: the practice of black magic. One cold, moonless night, a curious traveler named David ventured into the village. He had heard rumors of the strange rites that were performed there, and his fascination with the occult led him to investigate. He came across an old woman named Agatha, who had a reputation for knowing the dark arts. She lived alone in a decaying house at the edge of the village. The villagers avoided her, speaking only in fearful murmurs about the terrible things she could summon. David, undeterred by the warnings, visited Agatha and asked to learn about the forbidden magic she was said to wield. After a long, silent stare, Agatha finally spoke. "You seek knowledge that should not be sought," she warned. "The path you wish to walk leads only to shadows, and once you step onto it, there is no returning." David, driven by his thirst for power, insisted. Agatha agreed to teach him, but only on one condition: he must never, under any circumstance, perform the ritual of the binding darkness, a forbidden spell said to summon the very essence of evil. Ignoring her warning, David spent weeks under her tutelage, learning the incantations, symbols, and rituals of the dark arts. As the days passed, he felt himself becoming stronger, more attuned to the hidden forces of the world. But the deeper he went into the mysteries, the more the line between reality and nightmare blurred. One evening, as the village slept, David decided to attempt the ritual of the binding darkness on his own. He believed he had learned enough to control whatever he would summon. In a clearing deep within the forest, he drew the ancient symbols with his blood and chanted the incantation that would bind the dark spirit to his will. At first nothing happened, but then the air grew cold and the shadows around him twisted unnaturally, as if they had a life of their own. The ground trembled and a low guttural voice echoed through the trees. "You dare awaken me," the voice rumbled, filled with malice. "You are nothing but a fool who will pay the price for your arrogance." Suddenly, the ground cracked open, and a figure emerged, a monstrous, formless shape of shadow and smoke, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly fire. The creature's laugh was deafening, shaking the very trees around David. Panic surged through him. The creature was no longer bound by his incantations. He had made a grave mistake. The spirit lunged forward, wrapping tendrils of darkness around David's body. He screamed, but no sound escaped his lips. His skin began to turn pale, his limbs stiffened, and his vision blurred as the creature fed on his fear and life force. In the distance, Agatha stood watching, her face expressionless. She knew what would happen if David tried to summon the darkness. The village had seen this before: young souls who were consumed by their own ambition, their bodies turned to stone, their minds lost to the abyss. The last thing David saw before the darkness swallowed him was Agatha's cold, pitying eyes. And then there was nothing. The next morning, the villagers found the clearing where David had attempted the ritual, but there was no sign of him, only the symbols he had drawn, now scorched into the earth. The legend of the binding darkness continued, and Agatha's warning would be passed down to the next curious soul who thought they could control the shadows. But they all learned the same lesson: some knowledge is too dangerous to seek, and some forces, once awakened, can never be undone.